I clapped 3 times. Clap, clap, clap.
Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Yeah. That's the song I need to remember every time I come up here to record. Because there's been a couple where we haven't clapped. And it's just like trying to sync all the audio and the video. It's not fun.
I imagine. But once you get it synced in one spot, it's synced forever in the video and audio. So
yeah, unless something weird happens,
unless something weird happens. Like if something were to cut out.
Yeah. So, because I had one where the video and audio became unsynced like three quarters of the way through, and it was really weird. And still don't understand how it happened.
Is that the video that you were really confused about that you uploaded? Yeah. Or it didn't upload, but you just recently uploaded it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was really weird because I was confused because it was synced and then it suddenly wasn't.
Then I'm like, oh, hey guys, how are you doing today?
It's like one of those foreign shows, like where
they
the
do
old,
the English dub like Godzilla.
Yes.
Godzilla. Yeah. Some people can do that really well, like they can talk and then move their mouth in a different way.
Not me.
I can't either. I wish I could.
I bet you Levi could do it.
He could.
Hey, where is Levi?
He's on probation. We had to, put him on probation, just being too charismatic, too
Likeable.
Too fun, too likable. So we had to say, Levi, sit down. So if this video gets 500 likes and 500 subscribers, we'll fire Levi immediately.
Fired.
Sweet. We already scrubbed him out of the intro. I'm going to put a blur over him and stuff.
That'd be really funny.
But he's with us here in spirit.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's
right there.
Are you going to put a little, a little
I'm going to cut
picture
in like
or
a
something?
freeze frame of him.
You should make it like a really, really funny freeze frame where he's like making a really unflattering face or something.
Yeah, I definitely will. Kind of like our YouTube banner, which is so fun. If you haven't seen our YouTube banner, check it out. It's funny.
I do like our YouTube banner. It makes me laugh.
Every time. So, well, since the Levi's away, the lovebirds can talk. I was going to say play, and I was like, yeah.
You'll have people unsubscribing for that one.
Immediately unsubscribed.
Dislike video.
Yeah. Thumbs down. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yuck.
Well, we want to talk. What are we talking about today?
Well, I thought you wanted to talk about Song of Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
Song of Psalms. Songs.
Song of... Which one is it? Is it the oh gosh, Jeopardy? No. It's the one where they get the lifeline and the...
Oh, that's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah, that. And you have that on the screen. Song of Solomon. Song of Songs. Song of Psalms.
It's not the last one. That was just a misspeak.
The Song of Psalms, guys.
The Song of Songs.
That sounded like something else.
I know.
Off to a good start here.
Ooh, okay. So, but why is it like, before we even get into that, why does that book have two different names?
I don't know if it has two different names, just people call it the Song of Solomon sometimes. It's actually the Song of Songs.
Okay, because that's what I thought it was, but I hear people say Song of Solomon.
It's because some people, because he's mentioned in it, attribute to him writing it. It's kind of unlikely that he did.
Oh, I was under the impression he did.
I mean, he could have, but it's more written maybe as an attribution of like written in the wisdom of Solomon, not necessarily written by him, because I mean, you read Song of Songs and it's about this farmer who is a shepherd and this lady who are kind of pursuing each other. I mean, Solomon had the dude had 700 wives and concubines between the two of those.
Yeah, but his dad was a shepherd.
Yeah. But
maybe it was based off of their love story.
I think David had quite a few wives and concubines too. One of those things where they weren't supposed to do it and they did anyways.
But didn't he just have one initially and then he was like...
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at David's love life. It's not something I really focus on.
I don't consider myself an expert on David's love life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
But I know Solomon had 700 plus women running around. The dude was ate up.
Yeah. I mean, that was not uncommon for wealthy people and, kings and such of the time. So,
yeah. I mean, Solomon did some other weird stuff too. He one point he created an idol to Chemosh, the Moabite god of war that we talked about in the last episode.
Oh yeah.
He created an idol for that King Josiah ended up tearing down eventually.
For the best.
It was for the best. But yeah, Song of Songs, that's what it's called. And it's really a Hebrew idiom. It's kind of like how it's King of Kings. This is supposed to be the best song there is, period. The top of the top, the creme de la creme. And so that's why it's called Song of Songs.
I didn't know that. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you think about it that way. But I never thought about it that way.
It's the greatest of all songs. So that's why it's called Song of Songs.
It's really interesting because it's got some interesting lines in it.
Yeah, I mean, it explores desire and, physical desire and things like that, where you read through it and you're like, oh, okay. He's describing some very interesting, he's describing some very intimate and personal things.
Yeah.
And you read through it and it's basically this woman and the shepherd, they're probably engaged or something, not quite betrothed. And it's this bringing together and then separation. And bringing together and separation kind of goes through this flow of they're together and then they're separated. They're together and separated. And they describe each other. There's really no conclusion to it either, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So it's just a really interesting thrown in book of the Bible, but I think it's an important one. The Hebrew tradition of it was it's an example of God and the Jewish people. The Christian tradition it's an example of Christ in the church. And that kind of is more confirmed by Paul in the New Testament. Or not confirmed, but reinforced by Paul in the New Testament when he talks about the church being Christ's bride.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think also, they've discovered old like love poems like Song of Songs. In the Mesopotamian, the oldest one's this Mesopotamian one. I can't remember what it's called. Like, I'm not even going to try. But you can look it up. And it's written in that same vein.
Okay.
Like that your lips are like honey and stuff like that. And you can read that, and it's very reminiscent of Song of Songs. So maybe the author was influenced by those things, which wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibilities either.
Right.
When he wrote Song of Songs. But it's an interesting book, because I do believe that it is Christ in the church. But I also think you can read it and kind of get more of a healthy and biblical idea of sexuality and desire, and how the husband and wife are pursuing each other and should pursue each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that makes sense too, because our relationship with, well, Christ's relationship with the church is supposed to mimic the husband's relationship with his bride.
Yeah.
They're supposed to mirror each other.
Right. And there's that prophet, I think it was Hosea, married the prostitute, and she kept running out on him, and he kept bringing her back and buying her back and things like that. And it's that pursuit, the example of that shadow of Christ and his church and his people, and how he pursues us relentlessly even when we run off and run away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you read that again throughout, you don't read that like where they're trying to get away from each other, but you read that like relentless pursuit when they're not with each other, they're thinking about each other, they're pining for each other. And I think like I said, I think it's a really healthy example of, in a healthy look at what a relationship, and in the context of even the physical side of it, how God created it. Mm-hmm. And like even in that book, it talks about the Song of Songs. It talks about like how love is a gift from God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's supposed to be celebrated and enjoyed and everything like that. And when we were growing up in our generation, there was that weird culture, I think, that the church created around dating and sex and things like that, where it was just very strange.
Oh yeah. I actually, yeah, and there was a little bit of, I had a little bit of experience with some of the weird, it wasn't too weird, but like there were just, I was definitely I had the idea that like just sex was bad. And for a long time, it took some like getting over. Like I just had to like, give it to God and be like, you created us to do that as husband and wife. And, at some point it's, it's not bad, but it was definitely like something that I was brought up to believe.
Yeah. And that kind of culture and that kind of like teaching of like, it's taboo and we don't really talk about it. And like, if we do, it's like talked about really like tiptoed around, and like it's something to be afraid of. And it got really weird and unfortunate, because I don't think people really knew how to have knew how to have the conversation about it.
Yeah.
For the church at large, I guess, to go, hey, this is healthy, this is good, but read the Song of Songs, and even says in there, don't awaken love before it's time.
Mm-hmm. It's good under the right circumstances.
Yeah. And, it's not bad to have those desires and those feelings, but, it says don't awaken those desires or that love before it's time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a problem in our society, and what really Satan has done in our society of showing us, our media is just filled with perverseness and all these different things, things on the internet really easy to access.
Oh, so easy.
And
I'm to the point where like you stumble upon it while you're looking for something else.
yeah. And so you have to be, really be on guard, especially if you have children, and be aware of what's out there and things like that. But also like teaching your children, I think you can change the conversation a little bit and go, these things aren't bad. And they're actually a good thing. They're a gift from God. Desire is a gift from God. But it's not to be awakened before it's time. Because once you awaken it, it's hard to
put it back to sleep.
Shove it back in that bottle. You know what I mean? Like once it's awakened, you're like, okay, well, here we are.
Here we are.
So it's important to, communicate that to young Christians, to, single Christians, and to your children before, they discover it on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, if they discover it on their own, they're more than likely not getting accurate information.
Yeah. They're hearing it in the schoolyard, they're hearing it in the cafeteria, on the bus, or whatever, and it's probably misinformation.
Yeah.
You got some kid on the bus, I'll tell you what, this is how it goes. It's the greatest, best thing ever, this and that.
I mean, that part's pretty great. It is great. So that's pretty true. But yeah, you just, when there's a lot of misinformation that's being portrayed and being presented, it can just really wreak havoc.
I don't know. Reek, maybe?
Reek?
I don't know. I think that's maybe a Midwestern way of saying it.
I don't know.
Or here you just wreaking havoc. I think it's wreak havoc.
Wreak havoc. That would make more sense.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. But yeah.
And like you said, kids have a lot of misinformation.
Because most of them have no experience. They're all talk.
Yeah, and I remember in elementary school, kids were talking about it. And talking about, sex and things like that. But I look back at it now and I'm like, you had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah.
The things they were saying, you're just like, what?
And like the little things that like kids would do, like, with like 69 and just like random things like that. Like they just don't, they have no idea, like.
Yeah, they have no idea. And so as a believer and as a Christian, looking at, desire and looking at marriage, and, you have to have a biblical perspective. Like if you're a Christian, especially, everyone should, but you need a biblical perspective on this stuff. And if it's not talked about, if it's not taught, then you're kind of leaving it up for someone else to teach it and get misinformation. And, even in today's society, in our world, love is confused with infatuation. It's confused with physical intimacy and different things like that, where there's so much information and like that's just not true, and it's not through a biblical perspective.
Yeah.
And so how do you have to be able to know what the Bible says about this stuff and be able to navigate those things yourself and to like your children and things like that, or they're going to get a different perspective on it that isn't true.
Yeah. And just something that I've been learning as I've been like listening to other podcasts and such, really getting ahead of them. Unfortunately, you have to talk to your kids before someone else does. Because they're learning these things so young.
Yeah.
They're learning about, puberty and, what all is involved in that, and what are these infatuations and all these different things. How to have protective sex and all these different things at such a young age.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, they're not even at puberty yet and they're learning these things, and they shouldn't. But I think that in order to really train up your kids, you have to be ahead of them. You have to teach them the right things before they're taught the wrong things. Because if they're taught the wrong things first, they're going to think that's right.
And you have to undo a lot of that.
Right.
Whatever. And if they can identify what's true, or if you can teach them and guide them into what's true and what's not, they can identify then what's false.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is I heard that when they go to like look for fake counterfeit like dollar bills and stuff, they actually don't study the counterfeits. They actually study the real thing and know what it is, know what it's like. And then when a counterfeit comes along, then they can recognize it because they go, this isn't what is actually accurate according to how it's been minted. And so that's how they identify counterfeits. And I think it's the same way you can apply that to, anything in life. You go, if you know the truth about it, then you can identify a counterfeit when it comes along.
Yeah, that's really good.
And so identifying, looking at what is true versus, and then seeing everything that's going on. Because they're not just facing like information on just what we faced when we were younger, but there's so much more now with genders and different things where it's, how do they navigate that if they don't know what's true and how God made them and who God made them to be.
Right.
And, I think the Song of Songs is a important, it kind of gets skipped a lot. It doesn't get taught on a lot, but it's an important book in the Bible because it's a healthy look at desire.
Yeah.
And it's a healthy look at what it means to desire someone, be desired, to love and be known, and to love someone and know someone. And it's really just sad that, especially like we said in our generation, it got really weird and things were like, and then that translates then into your, later on in life into your marriage then.
Yeah.
Where then you're uncomfortable. People are uncomfortable to, be vulnerable and have intimacy with someone because this wrong thinking has created this mindset and this like hard to get around kind of stronghold where you can't enjoy it. You can't enjoy it like God created it to be enjoyed.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, that's very true. And yeah, it's sad that it got to that point because we know people who have struggled with that. So
yeah. And it's just, you have to, if you do struggle with that, you have to go to the Word of God.
Yeah.
And renew your mind in the Word of God and go, okay, what is healthy? What is good? What does the Bible say about this? Because, there's different people on both sides of the fence. You can get too much.
Yeah.
And go into some weird territory, but you can also just get really cold and go, this is what it is. And it's like, well, desire is a good thing.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to have it towards your spouse.
You're supposed to. It's part of having a healthy relationship with your spouse.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, because there's like Christian, and I don't want to say prudes, but it's kind of Christian prudes out there that just are, they don't barely will talk about, and when they do, it's just in a negative connotation, almost like a warning message more than it is like, this is something to look forward to, something that God has made to enjoy. and in the right context. And so, save yourself for that.
Mm-hmm.
And for that person, and not just the physical intimacy of it, but like the whole thing of it. Like, I really loved dating you. That was like incredible. I loved dating. I loved going through our dates and then through engagement and all that excitement and build up and everything like that. It was a lot of fun, and it was really great.
It was a good year.
It was a great year.
This is a great year. I think about it often. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. What do you think about Levi? Oh, old Levi always having a funny comment.
He can really just drone on sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, the Song of Psalms, it's an interesting book. And, something definitely like it's in the Bible. It's there to bless you. It's there to learn about.
Mm-hmm.
And what's kind of cool about it is, it goes through this away and then togetherness, away, togetherness. And oftentimes relationships can be like that, where it kind of ebbs and flows sometimes, especially with life. And, you go through things and you have children and different things, and it ebbs and flows, and the desire and the togetherness, apartness, everything like that.
You have busy seasons and all these different things that cause the ebbs and flows.
Yeah. And what's cool kind of about the book, though, it just doesn't end. And I think that's kind of like love, it just does. It's not supposed to end. There's no closure to it. It just goes on. And that illustrates, can be that relational love that you have with your, spouse and with your family and things like that, but also the love that Christ has for us, which is it's just a very neat example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's funny. I think of like rom-com movies. I do like a good rom-com. More calm than the rom. But it's funny because they always end at the altar. Almost every time. They end at the altar, or they end like with an engagement or like something like that. And it's like, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning of the whole story. Like, we've been married for 4 years now. We've been together for 5. And, our dating, our year of dating and being engaged was really great. But it was just the beginning, since we've gotten married, we've gone through a lot of different things, different jobs, and we have kids now, and we've gotten more involved in the church and just all these different things. And
well, you've gotten more involved in the church.
Well, yeah, but so have you though now.
Yeah.
Recently you're more involved. Yeah.
Doing
always, more. Yeah. Yeah. Doing more, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the beginning, and it, like you said, it just ebbs and flows. And
yeah. And speaking of misinformation in those movies, man, and just how twisted, the world gets with some of this stuff and how weird it gets. One, talking about love stories and things like that, the Titanic is a terrible movie. It's a terrible love story. I don't know how that dumb movie got so popular and was such a big hit when it was a terrible love movie.
I didn't know you felt so strongly about it.
The lady's engaged.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Cheats on her fiance.
Yeah.
With this hobo, basically. And it's like, come on. Like, and you want to call this a good love story? That's horrible.
Yeah, that is not good.
And this lady's still thinking about him. Like, how old was she?
She
At
was
the
like
end, and it was just
90,
like,
and she like had a husband. I'm sure he'd passed or something, but had a husband, had kids. I think she had grandkids too at that point, and it's like,
see, and that's the kind of example people get, and they're like, "Oh, it's such a good story." No, it's not. No, it's stop it. If you like that movie, stop it. That's what I'm gonna say. Stop it.
stop it.
Like, come on. It's so annoying. I'm just so annoyed with that movie. Like, people need to.
That was
stop.
like 30 years ago, honey. I didn't realize you still felt so strongly about it.
Well, we were talking about like John Moody in a couple episodes ago, and it was like, or not John Moody, John Harper.
Okay. I was like,
And
who's
the
John
he was going to the
Moody?
Moody Institute, I think. And
Okay.
but anyways, we were talking about him and how that was such a great story. It would have been a great movie. That's what they should have done with it. Instead, we get this terrible, and I'm not even going to call it a love story because it was just passion, unbridled
Yeah.
lust
Yeah.
that took place on the ship. And that's what I'm saying. People confuse lust. They confuse infatuation with love. And they say, oh, it was a love story. Anyone that you watch that movie, like, oh, yeah, it was a love story. No, it wasn't. It was a sin story.
It was a sin story.
But no, and that's, again, that's the kind of thing, we've been getting and fed, all of our lives. And it's kind of like really interesting too, because speaking of media and all these different things, that the portrayals, like how it portrays things, I've noticed that in media, the dad, like in all these like different shows, like whether it's Disney or whatever, like The Simpsons, whatever it is, the dad's always this bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that, like in our media, like growing up, that it was started like that, I think, or maybe it was even before. But like, they had like Family Matters and shows like that, where the dad was, he was a father figure, and he wasn't some
Kind of.
I don't know what family. I didn't really watch it, but they had better dynamics than this.
I thought you were talking about some of the shows that were recent. I didn't realize you were talking about Family Matters.
They still had like Family Matters, and different ones still had like these father figures and fathers that were involved and not totally incompetent and things like that, who actually had some good wisdom to give to their children.
Yeah.
And today it's just like it's like every dad in the media is just Homer Simpson, like where they're just totally dumb and just like, oh, I want to go get some donuts. Yeah, it's just like, it's just weird. Oh, it's really weird. Yeah.
Though I just forgot my kid's birthday party. It started an hour ago.
It's really weird, or they hate their kids, different things like that. Yeah. It's just really weird, to me. And again, it's a weird portrayal, I think, of an inaccurate and untruthful, and maybe not untruthful, but a twist and a warped of what God's design was.
Mm-hmm.
And is for families, and is for fathers, and sexuality in the media, families in the media now. It's just this weird twist of like what it should be, and it trains and conditions people to accept that as normal, and like this is what it's supposed to look like, and it's not supposed to look like that.
No. Well, and to kind of go off of what you're saying is, in similar shows, you will find the wife, every time she goes out with her friends, she complains about her husband. Complains about her husband. My husband doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. He never does this. He doesn't even talk to me. He doesn't fold laundry. He never does dishes. And I don't think that is healthy for a relationship. I have never complained to a friend about you. I'm hoping
it would just be unjust and not true. It'd just be slander.
It'd be slander. But, and my goal is to never do that, because that only sows bad seed in our marriage. You know, that gives me a person to complain about you to, but then that also gives that person a negative light of you. And I just don't think that that is a biblical way of handling your relationship.
Yeah, it's not, not that, say, if you need help in a relationship, go to someone who can give you godly advice. But
for sure.
There's a difference between going to someone getting godly advice and then going to someone just to complain about your marriage. And that's what you're talking about, is just the complaining aspect, and like, oh, this and that. And that's really, really true in all ways, in the media. Well, my old ball and chain.
Yeah.
How many times we've heard that, and it's a bad way to talk about your beloved.
Yeah.
It's a bad way to think about someone that you're living with, someone that you love, someone that you made a covenant with. And then that discontentment, or that was complaining, grows into discontentment, and it grows into strife, and it grows eventually into divorce.
Yeah.
And that's how Satan works and operates. He uses innocuous things to start the snowball to roll.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much before the snowball has rolled it's gone from complaining about how he folds laundry into every aspect where you're just now critical.
Yeah.
Or you're critical of your wife, and then you're like, I just can't deal with this person. I can't live with this person, when a lot of those things, it's something that you've built up, and it's something because of your discontentment, because of your complaining, that you've created in this person.
Yeah.
And it only reinforces those things, instead of really looking at it from a biblical perspective of, how should I be talking about my wife? Well, the Bible tells us. He says, your wife is a gift from the Lord. And it says every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights, who there's no shadow or variation of turning. And if I'm not looking at, my wife as a gift, then how am I looking at her?
Yeah.
And if I'm not going, okay, yeah, and you get in arguments and things like that, as, in every relationship, no one sees everything exactly the same way, and that can cause friction sometimes. But how you navigate those things together is really, really important. And having an unrenewed mind in a wrong perspective can really torpedo a relationship. And even having those things in the back of your mind and conditioning yourself, and like looking at the dumb, men and father figures in media, you can impose that then on your husband, or vice versa. If you have, some of the negative things about mothers, how they're, drunks and all these different things in a lot of these shows.
Yeah.
That, and emotionally just, out there, they can't handle anything without, taking drinks or, being whatever.
Blowing their top.
It's like you can impose that, I think, on, your marriage, or that can sneak in, that idea can sneak in, and it can really ruin your marriage.
Yeah. And I think one of the best things that we've tried to do, weren't always successful, but one of the best things that we've tried to do is try to understand that we're on the same team when we're in an argument.
Yeah.
We are fighting against the problem. where we are fighting against an attack from Satan. We're not fighting against each other. We're on the same team. We both want to make it out of this argument with a strong and healthy marriage.
Want to make it out of this argument to win. I gotta win, baby.
But we're both winning. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
That's that. Also, that mindset that came out when we were younger. Everyone's a winner. No, I'm the winner.
Are you quoting something?
No.
Okay. Because I wasn't following if you were.
No, I'm the winner.
Okay. That was really funny.
Yeah, it was. Oh, man.
But yeah, it's really sad. And I feel like, in some ways it's almost like they don't want us to have good relationships with our spouse.
Yeah, that's Satan's goal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, if you can break up the family unit, you can affect your community, affect your culture,
Affect your kids.
and affect your country and nations ultimately by destroying the family unit and how God designed it. And that's why there's a huge push for, different types of family and different things like that, where Satan is using that. It's not just, it's a several pronged attack, and he's trying to twist and warp. He's trying to twip.
We're having speaking issues this episode.
Twist and warp what a family looks like.
Yeah.
And create it into something that God didn't intend for it. And then it goes into the culture and goes into the community and affects society and affects people. And it wreaks havoc.
Yeah. Look, you just said it too. Reeks.
It's that Midwestern.
What I find really, really interesting, and I don't have the exact statistics, but kids who don't grow up with a father in the home are more likely by an astronomical number to be in prison. And that's, we were talking about how, all these shows are portraying dads as bumbling idiots, but really the father figure is so important to the family unit, and to the point where it also affects the kids' mental health, and how successful they are as adults and different things like that. It's something that people carry with them through adulthood, whether or not their father was in the home.
I have some stats.
I'm sure you do.
Roughly 70% of men in prison come from fatherless homes.
Yeah.
Roughly 70%. 71% of all dropouts come from fatherless homes.
Like high school dropouts.
Yep. 71%. And so you look at those statistics and, obviously there's correlation, but I mean, come on. You look at it, you go, there's cause and effect here. And I would be really interested to see how the other 30% actually fathered those kids.
Yeah.
And see what that actually looked like. Because, the Bible talks about cause and effect all the time. And it's mentioned throughout Scripture so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it says if you train up a child in the way they should go, when he grows old, he won't depart from it.
Right.
You may have prodigal sons, and you may have people, things that happen in your family unit and everything, but there's cause and effect. And the seeds you sow is what you reap. And that absence
I think it's the lack of sleep that we've been getting.
Yeah, right.
Thanks to our youngest.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like just really torturing us with that. He's really working us over.
It's a test.
It is a test. But that absence of a father obviously has huge impacts on the family, but then it has huge impacts on the society. 70% is a massive, massive number, massive percentage of people, of men. And I just find that really fascinating that all these men grew up fatherless, and how the fruit of their life then turns out, and how it doesn't just affect that family. It affects all of society. It affects the community.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people have, we run into in the church where they need direction and guidance, and they need a father figure because they didn't have one.
Yeah. Well, and then, for those who didn't go to prison, for a lot of the people who, I don't know what the percentage was, because you said 70% of people in prison grew up without fathers.
Right.
So there are a percentage of people who are in the community who grew up without fathers who are not in jail.
Right.
What I have seen is it affects not only that person, but it affects the next generation. And sometimes the generation after that, like it can go on for generations just because of one father not being in the home.
Yeah. Yeah, it can. And there was a weird thing I heard about, like, something about like the father being a criminal. And maybe it was in Kingdom Man, Tony Evans' Kingdom Man. I don't remember where I heard this. But like they traced lineage of like a strong family. And the lineage of those people were like presidents, and they were, successful people, things like that. But then they traced the lineage of like criminals, and they were just generations and generations of poverty and crime and things like that. And so it does have a massive effect. And I believe partly some of that is, the sins of the father coming on to the children too.
Mm-hmm.
And, there can be opportunity to break those generational curses and things like that. But just really interesting to kind of read and like see some of that in everyday life, and how the Bible really holds true in its principles when you follow them, and when you follow after Jesus, the way he intended things to be really are truly the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's, for those people listening out there who grew up without a father in the home, there is hope. Just because you grew up without a father in the home, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are destined for terrible things. We
have a father in heaven who loves us.
Exactly. We have a father in heaven who loves us and has good plans for us. And I am also, I grew up without a father in the home, and I'm still amazed by all of the blessings that I have in my life. And honestly, I think the intercessory prayer that you and your parents did for years for me, you didn't even know who I was, but you were praying for your future wife. And there were a lot of circumstances I look back on today, and I'm like, I don't know how I didn't get in trouble. I don't know how I didn't get stuck in, drugs or alcohol or all these different things. Like, it's a miracle, honestly. Like looking at some of the statistics and my upbringing being somewhat similar, it's a miracle that I'm not a statistic.
Right. And yeah, there, I think that's the amazing thing about Jesus.
Yeah.
He provided a way to totally undo the harm that Satan's done in our lives, and totally provided a way where he turns all things that Satan meant for evil into actual good.
Yeah.
He doesn't just fix the problem and be like, okay, well, it is what it is, and you're still kind of wonky now. Like, you break, like, Ellie had that Spider-Man piggy bank that broke.
Yeah.
And, like, I tried to glue it together, and, there's chips of it missing and stuff, and it got stuck to my hand because the super glue accidentally came down onto my thumb, and I had to rip that off, and then a lot of the paint came off it, stuck to my thumb and stuff like that.
It's better than my experience with the super glue. For those of you watching, my hand was like this. It was glued.
And then the stupid tube was stuck to your thumb.
I had to soak my hand.
30, 40 minutes of our life that we had to deal with.
I was trying to fix our son's book.
And the piggy bank and that book are a little wonky. Now they're a little janky.
A little bit, yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing.
My hand's good, though.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about God, though, is like he makes all things new, and it's not messed up anymore. It's not, but he turns it actually for the good and betterment of that person when you give it to him.
Yeah.
And so, like, no matter what you go through in the struggles and the trauma and the different thing that life brings, God makes us new.
Yeah. Amen. We have a good God.
Yeah. Good Father. It's who you are. I'm just tired.
Yeah. It's okay. I am too.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
How long have we been going?
Maybe 50 minutes.
50?
Maybe.
We could go a little bit longer, probably.
Do you want to talk about our get along shirt?
I don't know what you mean by that.
What do you mean you don't know what you mean? I mean, our get along shirt. The big shirt we put on when we're fighting. That we have to get in until we get along. Have you never heard that before?
No, I have.
Okay.
That's why I started laughing.
We really should have a get along shirt. I wouldn't mind that at all.
I know you wouldn't. Meanwhile, when I'm mad, I'm just like I'm like pacing and wanting to, yeah.
Dude,
got to get that energy out.
I saw this meme, and I was like, if someone did it, like, that would just be, it'd be wild. But it was this like thing. It said every time, or when your wife gets really mad, put a cape on her, and then say that she's super mad. And I was like, that is a really good way to get a divorce.
Yeah, I don't know how depending on where I'm at.
On that scale
of
anger.
Mad, on that scale of anger, I don't know how well I would take that. Like, if I'm low on the scale, it might diffuse it. It could probably diffuse it. But if I'm pretty high on that scale, that's not going to be a good move.
Even if you're mid on the scale, it's like, why are you not taking this seriously?
I'm being serious. I want you to understand.
Yeah.
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 That'd be how that went. Although I did see, and I think this is a great idea, maybe something we should start implementing, but when somebody gets really angry and is just starting to get really wound up and frustrated and is, kind of spouting off, You just take him by the face and give him a good old kiss.
That'd diffuse me.
I know. I think that would help me too, actually. Maybe we should start implementing that.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I don't get mad, though, so I'll have to do it to you.
Okay. You know what's funny, though? You're so easygoing that I think most people would believe that.
I know.
It's
true. Most people probably would believe that.
We
so
have
I should probably
friends.
clarify and fact check that is not the case.
Especially in the morning.
Most people haven't seen me mad unless you're family.
That's true. That's true. I've seen you mad. Your children have seen you mad.
Yeah.
Your parents have seen you mad. Have your siblings?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I used to have a really big anger issue when I was little.
That's true. You did.
I actually went up for deliverance for it when I was really little.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because we're in this big conference area and this kids thing, and they're doing the salvation call, and I was saved at that point. I'm a kid, but I accepted Jesus. I understood what salvation meant and all that, but I was like, I need to, there was just something in me, I need to go up for my anger. I need to go up for my anger. I need to go up for my anger. Get rid of that and put it down. And so I did. And then since that day, it just switched. Yeah. And it became really chill.
And now nobody can believe me when I say you get angry sometimes.
Yeah. In a really evil way, I could gaslight you. I don't get angry. No one believes you. No one's going to believe you. It's like those really horrible people and creepy men.
Like
and
those
no one's gonna believe you.
Like those
I can do what I want and no one believes you.
What, like those psychological films?
Yeah.
I've never watched one, but I've seen trailers to know that they're super creepy.
Yeah. Levi's seen me mad one time.
Really?
Yeah, just recently. Not just recently, but within the lifetime of Samwise. Within these 2 years. The sleep deprived Ben just...
Did you go off on him or something?
No, but I was mad about something. And he was just there to experience it.
Poor Levi. Poor Levi. He experienced it for you, but then for me, he was on the other end of it. Do you remember that?
No.
At Thanksgiving, he was making a joke about how he was more tired than me.
I don't know if he knew you were mad at him, though.
No, I went off on him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I don't even remember
I had to apologize. We went, because you were in the room with me. We walked downstairs. I literally walked down 4 steps and was like, I need to apologize to Levi.
Levi put his foot in his mouth.
Yeah, but I also...
I'm more tired than you, Jaimie. You don't say that to someone who has a newborn.
Especially the mom, because the mom, if you're nursing, the mom is waking up every 2 hours for months.
Yeah.
Months. And, I'm so grateful that you woke up to change diapers. That was so helpful. But not all dads do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he was on the other end for me. So I still think about that every once in a while. And I'm like, that was rough. I don't know if he even remembers it.
I don't know. He might hold it against you.
He might.
He might think about it every day.
Especially now that he's on probation.
Yeah, especially now that he's on probation. And you can just see Leo, that Jaimie, she gets mad at me for no reason.
She's not even a real redhead.
We were on the phone. He said something. He's like, I forget what he's done this a couple times, but I don't even remember what it was now. It was just this week. We were on the phone, And he said something. He's like, don't tell Jaimie that. He joked about something. He's like, you better not tell Jaimie that.
Well, now I'm curious.
I don't even remember what it was. So you can blame baby brain.
Okay.
I was at a shoot. And this is how tired, like, these past 2 years have been. Like, having kids, like, it really roughs you up. Like, you don't understand until you have kids.
Yeah. Like you're warned that you're going to be tired, but like
You don't understand.
there's no way to prep yourself for the exhaustion that you will feel. It's 100% worth it, and it's great. We love it, but we're also so tired all the time.
Yeah, I was at the drone shoot last night, and the lady's like, she pulled out the pool cover, pulled off the pool cover so I could get the drone shots of the patio and stuff with the pool uncovered. And she's like, come to the front door and let me know when you're done to remind me to put the pool cover away or put the cover back on the pool.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, lady, I am the wrong person to ask to remember anything. If I don't write it in my phone, it's not getting done.
Did you tell her that?
No.
That would have been really funny.
I just thought it, but I really should have. But I somehow remembered and got her pool cover. She got her pool cover back on.
That's a miracle.
It was.
That's a miracle. You know, I ask you to remind me things mostly because if I tell you that I want you to remind me of something, I'm more likely to remember it.
I'm like, oh yeah, Ben's unreliable enough. I should definitely remember this.
No, I think it's just like asking you to like verbalizing it as opposed to just like keeping it in my head.
Yeah.
And I've started like writing my to-do lists in the shower on the bathroom wall.
How do you do that? I've not seen this.
With the expo marker.
Oh.
The dry erase marker. I take a dry erase marker with me when I know I've got a million things to do and I can't think of a single one before I get in the shower, because every time I'm in the shower, I kid you not, I am like washing my hair or something and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do this today. I need to get this done today. And then I step out of the shower and it's like a vortex or something because I can't remember a single thing I thought about in the shower.
The shower washes away your memories too.
It does. And so I've started taking a dry erase marker in the shower when I know like I've got a lot of stuff that I want to get done.
I mean, if it works, it works.
It works.
If it works, it works.
And then I take a picture of it after my shower and I erase it so you don't see it.
You can't know what I'm up to.
Can't know what I'm up to. I gotta fold diapers today.
I gotta fold the diapers today. You're like, what fold diapers? You fold diapers when you
Cloth diaper.
do cloth diapers.
Yes.
That's a whole experience.
But cloth diapers has saved us so much money.
Yes.
So much money. Like, I think I spent less than $100 because most of ours were gifted to us. I spent no, that's not true. I spent less than $150. And
So you're saying you just lied.
that's why I said that's not true. And then I corrected myself. But yeah, I spent less than $150. And then everything else was gifted to us. And I kid you not, a box of diapers to last a month, it would cost us, especially with our babies having sensitive skin, and
$70 a box.
$70 a box for a month. And that's just for one kid. We're spending over $100. We would spend over $100 a month on diapers.
Yeah.
And we've been in it for 2 years for our toddler and almost a year with our baby.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Thousands of dollars in diapers.
So using cloth diapers have saved thousands of dollars for our family.
You too can save thousands of dollars. First, step 1, have a child. Step 2, do cloth diapers.
Step 3, figure out a way to rinse off the poop that doesn't make you want to vomit.
Oh, gosh. I hate that. I really do.
That's why I do it. That's why I do
do
it.
it for you sometimes when I feel bad for you.
But I usually do it. Because
Yeah.
I told you before we agreed to cloth diapers, when we agreed to cloth diapers, that I would do it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to.
I did not.
And
That was a conversation.
That was.
How much money is it worth to not clean poop out of a diaper? And that's a question you have. The Bible talks about counting cost. You have to count the cost.
But, as we've continued with cloth diapers and as we've, kind of started to live a more crunchy lifestyle, we also have found how toxic and how terrible most diaper brands are for babies, to the point where our baby is allergic to almost every brand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
wild.
Yeah.
Is it sensitive skin or is it just don't put chemicals on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Don't-
get the absorption and all that, yeah, but still.
Literally has cancer-causing ingredients in them, though.
Yeah.
To the point where the people who are making them are in like PPE, like special personal equipment, so they won't get cancer
Yeah.
while they're making our babies' diapers.
The McDonald's fries, they like gas them, and it's not safe to go into there till like dissipates for like 20 some days.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. Like they do something to the potato where like they can't have any like of those defects of like those what they call defects, where it's like the brown spots and stuff like that. They like gas them, which is really weird. Like that's really gross.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly why they do it, but I did see that documentary. I don't know if it was a real documentary, but it was a video talking about it, and was very shocked by it.
Yeah. But can't really get away from it today anymore. Like everything has something in it. It's exhausting trying to.
That's why we
trying
pray
to get
for our
through it all.
food.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was going with it. Like, use common sense.
Yeah.
Do what you can. But then you're just going to have to trust the Lord.
Yeah. I mean,
And to be honest, like, you have an organic piece of broccoli or whatever broccoli that's not organic. But you pray over the broccoli that's not organic. Which one would you rather eat? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you don't have to trust the Lord with some of this stuff. The Bible says that He'll bless your food and drink and take sickness from your body. So you're just going to have to trust the Lord with some of it and go, obviously make healthy choices, make informed decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you're going to have to go, you know what, Lord, I got to trust you with some of this stuff. And because literally you can't avoid it. I don't think you can really avoid it anymore in this world unless you're super rich and can afford to avoid most of it.
Yeah.
But that's not our case. So
Yeah. Or if you're like living in a
food desert,
a society where like societies in like Africa, for example, where they grow their own foods.
yeah, then you can.
But, even when you grow your own foods here in America, it's often GMO,
Right,
So
unless
it's
you
like
get heirloom seeds and stuff like that.
yeah, which are hard to come by.
No, we've found
Have
them.
you?
Like,
Okay.
a lot of our gardens heirloom.
Okay. Not
Except-
easy to find on Amazon. Amazing.
No, but you can find them like local places. You'd even go to farmers markets.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of a farmer's market, but that makes sense.
Like, I'm sure some of them sell like their heirloom seeds, and if they don't, like, you can just
You should.
harvest the seeds that
Yeah.
you buy from them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. That makes sense.
gardens are hard though.
Yeah. I kind of gave up on our garden like a week or two ago.
We still have a bunch of good stuff in it.
I
I need to
know.
pick it.
We need to pick it. I haven't watered it. I haven't done anything with it because the boys they literally look at me as a jungle gym right now. Both of them. Like, I was on the phone with, it was while we were talking to your sister. And I was like, I have our toddler climbing on me and being a whale and crashing into me, pretending to be a whale. Splash. And then I've got our baby I'm sitting on the couch. I've got our baby holding on to me for dear life because he can't stand by himself yet. And he's blowing raspberries on my knee. And I'm like, just like, what in the world?
What do we do? Yeah.
It's hard to maintain a garden when you've got that kind of a lifestyle.
What do you mean it's hard to maintain that kind of lifestyle?
Oh, it's hard to maintain a garden when you have that kind of lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean? I don't understand, says the person with no kids.
Yeah. If it were just the toddler, he could come out with me. But the baby, I'd have to carry him because he can't stand by himself yet, let alone walk. And if I take him outside just to water the plants, I'm putting him in the high chair and taking the high chair outside because that's the only way that I can take him outside. Strapping him in and then spending a whopping 5 minutes watering the plants and then putting all that stuff back inside. And it's like,
it's a lot to do.
It's a lot. It's
a lot
just
to
a
do.
lot.
Although I will say, like, they're pretty easy to go places with.
We
feel
have some good kids.
Yeah. I still feel like that's overblown, though. Like, I can't go anywhere with my kids. And it's like, can you not, or you just won't?
Well, I think that that's part of it. But I also think that, a lot of that is a lot of the reason why people can't take their kids out in public, like to restaurants and stuff. I think a lot of it is because of the amount of screen time that they get throughout the day. Honestly, I do believe that because, you know, what are the screen kids? What are the
iPad kids.
iPad kids. You know, you look up some videos of iPad kids. And these kids, you take an iPad, you take their tablet away from them, you take their screen away from them, and they just don't know what to do.
You mean God didn't design the human brain to develop on a screen?
Yeah.
What?
And you know, you take them out into the real world, out in public, and they just don't know how to behave. They want their iPad. They're not comfortable. They're not in their home. They're not in their safe place. And they're going to freak out. So I think that part of it is some parents probably don't want to go through the potential challenges of taking their kids out. But I think there are also legitimate challenges to taking kids out.
I can't tell if I can hear him or not.
No.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I think there are legitimate challenges to taking kids out. And, you know, I don't want to like toot our own horn or anything because our kids do get screen time. But I hear something. I wonder if it's something outside.
Nope, I hear it. It's the boy. He's awake.
All right. Well, let me finish my thought. I think that, you know, something that's really helped us is our kids have minimal screen time. Like, especially now that I'm not working during the day, I only work in the evenings. I'm very, very conscious of how much screen time they get throughout the day. So,
yeah. You have to watch that, but well, we're out of time because the child woke up and he is crying. So it's 10:45, so he needs to get back to sleep.
Yeah, he does.
like and subscribe. If we get 500 likes, we're going to fire Levi. So get us to that number and we will get Levi out of here.
If we get 50 subscribers,
Levi's
also out.
He's gone.
And if you're looking for a job and you've got red hair, let us know.
We have 50 subscribers. We're hiring a celebrity. We're in it then.
Okay.
Episode 5.
What?
Maybe.
This is our emergency episode.
Yes.
So don't say that.
Yeah, not episode 5. Emergency episode.
Emergency episode.
Just in case Levi is actually sick.
Peace.